Hello everyone and welcome back to Paper Peony. I'm Kimberly Jones and I am an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up. And right now in this tutorial I have for you this photopolymer stamp set called Sweet Songbirds. It's very whimsical, it's very fun, and I have created 3 projects, all of which I will be showing the tutorials for each and every one of these projects. But for now we're doing the yellow bird and the nest of eggs. It says, "A little bird told me you've got something to celebrate. It's perfect for a baby shower, a baby card, or just one that loves birds, and it's very whimsical for a birthday card as well." So with this, there's also a punch that matches this big bird that's stamped out. You can stamp it and then punch it out using the punch, or you can create your own birds using just the punch because it has the beak and the wings, and that will be shown in a future tutorial that you can see and view that here on YouTube as well. So I want to let you know that below you will find my Facebook link and you will find my Stampin' Up website link. On the Stampin' Up website link, you can actually go and view the catalog in its entirety. This is the annual catalog that you will find this set in. And then if you want, you can go to stamp sets, punches, and everything will be grouped out in different categories. You can see the prices, you can see the products, and you can also get other ideas as well from looking at the catalog and on my website. The Facebook page will show you different projects that I've done with various other stamp sets. And if you want to reach out and send me a comment or question, feel free to do that, and I will respond as soon as possible. So welcome back to Paper Peony. I am glad that you're here. If you like this video, please hit like and follow my page. And the more likes that I get, I'm hoping to do live Facebook tutorials later on, or YouTube videos later on. So again, let's start with this. I'm going to show you, and all of the products that I will be using will be Stampin' Up products, and I will let you know what products I'm using as I use them. So let me get everything cleared away and set the card back. I'm going to put my stamp mat in front of me. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a basic white cardstock piece, and it is measured at 3.5 by 4 6/8 inches across. Okay, and the first thing I did, I love dimension, I love detail in all of my projects. So in order to create this cloud background to make the bird look like he's up in the sky, I am using the Basic Borders dies. These are found in the very back of the book in the standalone die section. And there's, as you can see, different border punches or border dies. There's the small chevron, the big chevron, the arch, the point, and then this is the cloud looking edge here. So what I've done is I have made me a template using white cardstock. I trimmed off the edges, and so now it is my cloud template. So that's what I'm using for the clouds. So keep that in mind when you do borders and things like that. You can also create them as templates. So now I am using a blender brush, and we sell these in 3 packs. We have large and we have small, but I like the large because it covers more detail, more area in one swipe than the small ones do. Now, if you do have a small little area that you want to sponge, then the small ones work better. But for this reason, because I have 4 6/8 across to sponge blue, I just prefer the bigger one. So you're going to ink it with your balmy blue ink pad, and you're going to hold the template in place, or you can either tape it down, and then that way you don't have to worry about it. But I'm just going to use my fingers and hold this down, and I'm just going to go around this cloud template to give me that cloud look that I want. And sometimes you'll just have to keep re-inking until you get the color that you want. Okay, so there's that. And then I went to the very bottom and did the same thing on the bottom. If you don't want the ink to be so strong at first, you can always kind of stamp off on your mat before you get on your cardstock or your image, and then that way it's not so harsh. And so there's my clouds. And as you can see, I want to go in a little bit in that center and make it a little bit darker blue. And you just keep inking it until you get to that desired look that you're wanting. Okay, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so then I'm going to close my ink. The next step we're going to do is we're going to take our pecan pie ink and we're going to stamp our branch that's found in this stamp set. Okay, so here's the branch and we're going to ink it. We're going to stamp it down here at the bottom. And I got ink on my block. Be careful that if you get ink on your block to wipe it off before you stamp. That way it doesn't destroy your project. Okay, so then you're going to put the branch there. And then I just flipped it like so and made my branch at the top. Okay, like that. Okay, and then the next step, I also, since I have my pecan pie ink out, I also stamped the nest in pecan pie on pecan pie cardstock. So here's my pecan pie scrap cardstock. And what I did is I just stamped the nest, pecan pie on top of pecan pie, and there's my nest. And then I just hand cut that out. I already had prepped one before, so it's already cut and ready to go. So I'll set this over here to the side. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take Granny Apple Green ink. And this is going to be the leaves on the branches. So I did direct ink and then stamped off. Direct ink and then stamped off to give me that faint green look. Direct ink and then another stamp off. And that's how I got my leaves. That subtle green leaf look, okay? And then I love yellow and purple together, and so I used the Highland Heather purple that we have, mounted the little flower on a block, and then I went in and did direct stamping. Every time I inked it, I stamped it because I wanted the flowers to show off of the tree branch. So I wanted the image to be strong. And you can just do as many as you want on here. I think I did a little more on this one than I did in my original, but that's okay. Okay, so there's that. Okay, and then we've got our branches done. So then the next thing is we stamp our little bird. And I stamped her in Daffodil Delight onto white cardstock. I'm going to set this project to the side. And then you're going to stamp the chick, you're going to stamp the wing, and then after that, then you're going to cut it out. So I stamped the wing or the bird like that. And then I stamped the wing, the little wing, like so. And then I hand cut those out, leaving a little white border around the outside. And this is what this looks like when it's cut and out. And I have not glued down the wing yet. I'll show you that here in a little bit. Okay, so that's how you come across with the bird. Okay, and then after you get the bird, then you have the beak. The beak is orange. If you can see that, it's orange. This is pumpkin pie ink, cardstock, I'm sorry. And so I used the punch on this one, and here is your beak. So I just slid this in where the beak is, punched it out, and there is my little beak right there. So I'm going to save that and use that here in a little bit when I glue the bird together. Okay. Okay, so next we're going to stamp the legs to the chicken, or to the bird, sorry, bird's chicken. They're close to the same, aren't they? Okay, and I'm using, now this is an old retired orange. I don't have Calypso Coral or pumpkin pie ink as of yet. It's on my list to get. But you're just going to use an orange ink and stamp the legs onto the branch, just like so. Okay. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and glue our chicken or our bird together, okay? And so what we're gonna do is, I'm using dimensions. I love dimensions. I'm going to use our little small dimensions, and I'm going to put the wing on the bird like I want, okay? Then you can go ahead and put the regular dimensions, I put 2 on here, on the back of the bird, and put her down where you want her onto the branch, just like that. Okay, now the next thing we can do, we can go ahead and do this now, or we can do it later, it doesn't matter, because I know that she is on dimensions and we're going to be doing some stamping over here, but it's not going to affect the stamping at all, I don't think, so I think we're going to be okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is, I stamped, you've got something to celebrate right here in the upper corner. Let me go ahead and do that before I get too much going on. And I stamped the saying in Pebble Path. It's a dark gray. I thought black would be a little harsh with the coloring that I've got going on. So, and Pebble Path happens to be one of our new colors. Okay, so I stamped this in the upper corner like so. Okay. And then we can go ahead and do our sign. And we did the sign, we stamped it on white cardstock as well, because I wanted the wood grain to show. And on this one, what you're going to do is you're going to mount the little sign. I used Lost Lagoon, which happens to be a returning ink pad color, and it's a new core color this year. So we're going to stamp it. Now it's going to come out and it's going to look really, really dark like that, but I promise you it will lighten up. Okay, so there's Lost Lagoon. Then you're going to come in, and on that Pebble Path, you're going to stamp A Little Bird Told Me. Okay. Okay, and you're just going to center it and stamp it down. Okay, like that. Okay. All right, and so now this is something I did not do in advance, but it's so small and so quick to do that I thought I would do it with you. So, okay, so on this, see how I've left a white border? Okay, so now when I cut, I am moving my paper and not my scissors, because I want a smooth cut. So I am moving my paper and letting the scissors just follow along, okay? So there's my sign. Now on this, you can either hand draw your strings for your sign, or you can stamp them, because there is an actual stamp that stamps these lines for the sign to hang. And I did the stamp, and I used the Pebbled Path as well, since I was using it for other things, okay? And so I'm just going to put this on here and just stamp my and see if it does this where it's not as strong as the other one, you just have to go back over it. And that's the benefit of this photopolymer stamp set, is that you can see where you're stamping and go back over if you mess up. Okay, so now we have our sign, and we're ready to pop dot the sign where it's going to go. And I put, again, 2 on this one. And so you'll just put the sign right there. Okay. And then now we're ready to piece together everything. And it looks like I have just lost my beak, but that's okay because it's right here. I can do it again really quick. Just keep in mind that these pieces are really, really tiny, and so sometimes it's really easy to lose, so make sure you keep them in a safe spot. Okay, so I'm going to use my Tombow glue. I love Tombow glue for small things, and if you are real picky about things being straight, it's perfect for, it gives you a little bit of time to reposition stuff before it sets. So, okay, so I'm using my pick tool. It has the putty end on one side and then a poker on the other for piercing and stuff. But this here it's got putty on the end, so it holds stones and things like that as you're putting them where you want them, which is a perfect little thing to do, because with the small pieces, it's kind of hard sometimes to glue them down. Okay, so my bird is done. So the last thing on here, besides the embellishing part, is to actually put my nest on here. So here is the nest that I've already pre-cut. Okay, so now the only thing to do is put the 3 eggs in here. Now this is what the fun part is. This wing here is the eggs that I've actually used. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take Pool Party. Okay, and what we're gonna do with this is we're going to punch this big wing out 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and I'm gonna move all my scraps out of the sight here. Okay, and then I'm left with these 3. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna come in, and right where you see that little point right there, you're gonna cut straight across on each one of these wings. And it's gonna give you kind of like, you don't see the form, you don't see how it's gonna work right now, but you'll see here in just a second. Okay, so there are my 3 eggs. Okay, and then in this stamp set here called Oceanfront, which I love because a lot of people will see this and they think, oh, it's used for beaches and that's it. No, you can actually use this for skies and watercolor grasses. This one right here, this is actually sand, but I'm using it for the speckles on my eggs. And so I use pecan pie as well on this. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to take my speckled stamp. I'm looking for it actually. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm going to take this speckle and I'm going to stamp off on it because I don't want it to be real strong. Okay, so see how it's real nice and juicy? I want to stamp off on that and then go in and just stamp my eggs like so. Okay, now one's a little stronger than the other, and if you don't like that, you can always flip it over and try again. Okay, like that. Okay, so once you get them all speckled, now they're ready to put in the nest. And what I do, this is about that thing I was telling you about the Tombow glue, that if you start gluing something and not liking where it's going to end up, then you have a couple seconds to reposition it. Okay, so there's that and that one. And I've got this one right here. Okay, and see how that one's kind of raised up a little higher than I want it. Okay, so there is my nest and there's my eggs. Okay, so now while that's drying, I'm going to flip it up or flip it on its back. I'm going to put 2 regular size dimensions on the nest, and then I'm going to come in with those small dimensions and put 1 on each one of the eggs because I want those eggs to pop up as well. They're the spotlight to this card. Okay. Okay, and then this is ready to adhere onto the end of my branch here. Okay, so then, now we're gonna build our card. Okay, so we have a Pool Party cardstock. Okay, and this is at 8 1/4 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Okay, and then you're gonna fold it in half and use your bone folder or straight edge to give that nice crisp spine a fold. Okay, then your scene that you just created, you're going to mount it onto a piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock, and this measures 4 7/8 by 3 5/8, so it's just 1/8 bigger on both sides. Okay, and I'm going to use glue on this because I want it to be nice and centered, and it's a very small border just for that pop of color, so I don't want it to be off-centered by any chance. And there's that. And so now I'm ready to pop dot this whole entire image onto the front of the card. And I usually put one on each corner, and then in the sides and in the center, you know, because you don't want a sagging edge. And over time, if you send this to someone and they save it and keep it for a year or so, then it can cause your card to crush or whatever over time. So I always like to put more pop dots on there. Okay, so now you're going to just hold it up and center it the best you can and put it on your card like that. Okay, so now the last thing we have done to this card, there's two things actually, is I put some rhinestone basic jewels on here, and these are colorable. So even though they're clear, you can use our Stampin' blends and color, as long as they're an alcohol-based marker, they can color any of your jewels, okay? So I used Parakeet Party, the dark shade. When you order these Stampin' blends, they're $10 for two, but they act as like Copic markers, and I know you've heard those before. What these will do is the lighter shade and the darker shade will give you a blending concept, so it will look like an artist colored it because it's that detailed. And there's a lot of shadowing going on and shading going on. So I use the dark when I color stones because it just makes it more dominant and more showy, I think. The lighter just barely colors it. The dark shade, I think, colors it more. So I did 3 on here, and I just picked sporadic flowers to put these little rhinestones in the centers of the flowers. And then the last thing I did, I'm looking for my stone. I just lost it. There it is. Okay. Let's see. Let's put this one right here. Even though it's beside the other flower, it's up high on the branch. Okay, so there are my 3 stones. See how it adds that extra bling? Okay, so now these eggs, you can leave this as it is, but like I said, I love detail. I used our fine tip glue to give the eggs a glossy look. See, I don't know if you can see how the eggs look glossy. Okay, so I wanted them to look a little bit more realistic. So I came in and I just kind of put a little bit of this fine tip glue on each one of these eggs. Now this is a step that you're going to want to do last because you're going to need to set it aside and let it air dry for about 20 minutes, and then that way it will set this glue and it'll give you a glossy look. So, but that's what I have for you on this project today. And I hope that you will join me on all the other ones that I have done using this Songbird bundle. It's super cute and it's super inexpensive, and I'm hoping that if you purchase this, that you will send me your samples when you do them on your own or your creations. I would be excited to see them. So please join me on my upcoming videos, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my page. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.